How good were they? Thank you, Pentatonics, and thank you, Baby, for those amazing performances. What a way to kick off Cisco Live 2021. I hope you all managed to go over to the Leadership Channel to watch those two sensational artists. I know Ray and I joined the other hosts in another room and had a bit of a dance party ourselves. We were having a great time. Now, if you loved them, tell us what you thought on social media. We really want to hear from you. Remember, hashtag Cisco Live and at Cisco Live APJC. But before we do that, let's throw to a couple of videos. The first one is on the WebEx wedding video commercial. So we'll see you all very soon. Enjoy the commercial.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the marriage between Rebecca and Cameron. In the presence of this company, it gives me great pleasure to declare you are now legally husband and wife. Cameron, you may now kiss the bride.
Between being there and being together, there's a bridge. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
Hey, it's good to see you.
I know, right? Finally. Loving those shoes. Late for my meeting. Morning.
Hey, how are you? Let me show you. Q3 numbers are suggested.
Trey's their best player.
I'm still on my lunch.
Good morning. This is
The company we've trusted to keep us working remotely is the same company we'll trust to bring us back together. Back safely, with features like density monitoring to keep everyone properly distanced. Back securely, with more resilient, more robust protection to block threats faster.
WebEx, start the meeting.
And back responsibly, with touchless technology that connects everyone. So now, between a year of being apart and the joy of coming back together, there's a bridge. Cisco, the bridge to possible.
Okay, everyone, let's get started.
Applications are the business, and that's really the next session that we're going to have. There's a great framing that I love. It's how about this one? The application is no longer an application. It's much more often a mesh of services pulled from all around the world through all kinds of clouds. So how do we ensure that performance? So that's really our next session. It's called Optimizing the Application Experiences. You're going to hear about a concept called the digital supply chain. As a software developer, I love this concept. It's how we as application developers deliver our application experiences right through all the infrastructure, right through the network, all the way to the end user, and make sure it's performing. There's some great demos in this session. And remember, if you don't see those demos, we have live engineers, people ready standing by live to do demos with you in our world of solutions. So enjoy this next session.
Applications are the business. Applications are the way end users consume products and services. In fact, if you think about this, over the last 12 months, I think it'd be fair to say that our usage of applications has gone up pretty significantly. In many ways, it's changed our behaviors in terms of how we buy and consume stuff. We need applications to just work. We need them to do exactly what the end user wants and be dynamic. So we can add services that enhance, we can throw away services that no longer add any value to the user experience or to the business for that matter. But when something does go wrong, we also want to know, what is the business impact exactly? And this way we can get our teams focused on what matters most to the end user and to the business. If you look at newer applications, they're totally being built with leveraging services and data from multiple clouds, from SaaS properties, from on-premises, from the edge. You can say an application is no longer really an app, it's a mesh of many services. But when you think about it, is in our environments, we have a lot of traditional applications as well. Now, some of these are being refactored, some are staying exactly the same because it just works. So it's fair to say that in any business environment, there's a mix of these applications across their hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Now, since applications are the business, delivering the best user experience means being able to address issues before they come up, or at least being able to address it in near real time. And the issue could be anywhere in the stack. It could not just be in the application or the code, it could be all the way down to the infrastructure and across this rich environment of multiple clouds and SaaS properties and on-premises and the edge. So we need to build upon the specific domain monitoring tools that we have and get to full stack observability. So we can break down the silos between the teams so that they work and talk together, and everyone, every single one plays a part in being able to deliver the best user experience and have the biggest impact to the business. So joining me today is Linda Tong, who's the GM of AppD, Mohit Love, who's the GM of Thousand Eyes. And between the three of us, what we want to demonstrate is, what do we really mean when we say applications are the business? Experience is the currency, and optimization is the profit. And with that, Linda, I'm going to come to you first.
Thank you, Liz. I'm so excited to be here. I want to go ahead and go back to that first statement that Liz made, which is applications are the business. Whether you're an airline that is driving the majority of your travel and customer loyalty through your apps, or maybe you're a restaurant that's driving all of your food orders and delivery through a mobile app, applications are now synonymous with the business. And when your applications have performance issues, those issues impact your bottom line. So now, with applications leveraging modern technology and being deployed across traditional and cloud infrastructure, understanding what's going on in your application is infinitely more complex. But we can help you connect the dots up and down that stack, from the business metrics through the user experience into the application and into the deepest levels of your infrastructure. Because what you need right now as a business is full stack observability. And what you need is for that to be presented with business context, which is something that AppDynamics has always done historically well, whether it comes in the form of a business transaction or through Business IQ. By surfacing insights through this critical business lens, we're able to help technologists understand what matters. You can cut through the noise, pinpoint critical issues, and understand with context how to understand those performance insights in terms of what investments to make, what problems to solve, and how to invest for your bottom line. But I don't want to talk about it in theory. I want to go ahead and talk about a real example that we're all familiar with. Specifically, let's pretend you're a restaurant, say a mobile food ordering app, and you're famous for your wood-fired pizza, because who doesn't love pizza? And let's say it's lunchtime right now, and your business is picking up. With AppDynamics, you can easily visualize the health of your application. We can show you your key metrics and KPIs. Here, you can see the volume of customers that are engaging with you, specifically around how much revenue is flowing through your app right now. And it's a lot because it's lunchtime and people are hungry. With Business IQ, we can also take a look at other key metrics associated with your application. We can show you the performance, and here you're seeing this healthy conversion rate of people moving through your funnel, buying pizza. Your infrastructure on the right here is looking really great. So this lunchtime hour is looking fantastic. There are no performance issues, a lot of revenues flowing through. Your customers who are hungry are going to get their pizzas really quickly. But let's be real. Not everything works according to plan. And when things don't go as expected, that's a big problem. And so what I want to talk about is what happens when things go wrong. And in this case, you can see order volume is dropping. And looking at this dashboard, you can see high abandonment rates, which is incredibly concerning because this is a significant amount of revenue that's now at risk. And what's real here is your customers are being impacted. And so I want to help you make sure you understand how you can identify this problem, solve it quickly, and ultimately create a great experience for your customers. So looking at this, the first thing I'm going to do is jump into AppDynamics Experience Journey Maps. And because I saw those high drop-off rates, what I really want to know is what's happening through the user journey. Here, I can get an aggregate view of how my customers are experiencing this application, and I can look at how those different steps of their experience are overlaid with user experience and performance data. And specifically looking at this user journey, I can see this unusually high drop-off point at checkout. What's concerning is my customers are obviously unable to order pizza right now. This is going to create a massive impact to my brand and my reputation. And knowing the low switching costs and fleeting customer loyalty, and frankly, how hungry my customers probably are, this means they're probably going to abandon me and go order pizza somewhere else. So let's fix this problem really quickly so it doesn't impact any other customers. The way I'm going to do this, now that I know that checkout is probably the issue, I'm going to look at this in Dash Studio. With Dash Studio, I can look at the key metrics and the health data associated with this checkout transaction. And I also happen to know that this mobile app is using a third-party payment processing solution. And so I'm starting to wonder, is that part of the cause? Looking at it, I can see here with App Dynamics that there specifically looks to be an HTTP response time issue. I can see this response time is increasing significantly here on the chart, and I can see it associated with a drop-off in these payments too at the same time. So I want to dig a little bit deeper onto these two elements. And when I look at them, I can look at this app payment response time increasing with App Dynamics. It's also associated with a network spike I'm seeing that's coming from Thousand Eyes. And that network spike is showing this increase in latency in terms of how this payment processing gateway is able to access my application data center. And this clearly indicates that there's probably a network issue at play here. And it's actually probably having to do with the external internet path to this payment processing gateway. So the insight I'm looking here at this bottom chart here is really unique. This is a newly launched capability between App Dynamics and Thousand Eyes, where we're creating this native integration that's overlaying App Dynamics data with Thousand Eyes data so that you can better understand the complete application experience through the end-to-end observability cycle. And this shows you both internal and external data so that you can more effectively troubleshoot and get to root cause. Looking at this though, because I don't want to stop here. I've got a lot of customers who are still really hungry, and I've got some pizza that needs to get ordered. Now that I know that this is a network issue, I want to go solve this problem and better understand what's wrong. And to get there, I want to go ahead and jump into Thousand Eyes seamlessly right into this problem so I can troubleshoot and answer why. I can just click here and easily jump into Thousand Eyes without thinking anything else. But I also want to phone a friend. So Mohit, can you give me a little bit of help here? I think it's a network issue.
Thanks, Linda. Now, as you all could see, what Linda did was blame the network. And that's the unfortunate reality of what happens during an issue with every organization. There's just a lot of finger pointing between the app team, the network team, the server teams. And this is because each one of them is using their own siloed tool. And what is really needed in this case is for all of these teams to come together to see all the elements that impact the digital experience, no matter where they are. And this is one of the things that's most exciting about App Dynamics and Thousand Eyes coming together. This is one of the reasons I was excited about bringing Thousand Eyes into Cisco. Because if you look at it, App Dynamics provides this best-in-class insights into what's happening inside the application. Everything you need to know about that application experience and how the stack is impacting it, you will know that through App Dynamics. And think about Thousand Eyes as helping you understand all the elements of that digital experience that sit outside that application stack. Think about it as areas like the internet, which is a huge, huge black box that connects your application to the end users, or whether it's a CDN provider or an ISP, or in this case, it's a third-party payment service provider. So how does Thousand Eyes help complete that picture? We go back to what Linda was talking about, and you see that there was a drop in checkouts. And Linda talked about a potential network issue. Now, if you jump into Thousand Eyes in this view, we can quickly see that there was actually a spike in network latency. And not only was there a spike in network latency to this payment service provider from the application stack, we can also see very quickly that the packet loss between these two endpoints, between the application edge and the payment service provider, is actually still 0%. So it's not like the network has seen some massive disruption that is causing some increase in latency, but something has happened, and that's caused the latency to go up. And instead of just telling you something has happened, we want to jump in and actually tell you what's going on. Now, the beauty of Thousand Eyes is like a DVR, we can go back and forth and look at before and after. So we're going to go back in time and look at the before picture when everything was good. And what this picture tells you is what's sitting between your application edge and the payment service provider. So on the left is your data center where you're hosting your application. On the extreme right is your application, is your payment service provider, which you're connecting to. And everything in between is the set of hops that you have to go through on the public internet. So if I just zoom in a bit more, I can quickly see that this payment service provider is hosted in the public cloud in Ashburn. And any disruption from this application edge to this service provider along the path would be caught by ThousandEyes. In this case, everything is great and you're having a good checkout experience. Now what I'm going to do is, like the DVR, fast forward to when the issue started because I have a good understanding of the baseline. When I fast forward to where the issue is and the latency has spiked, I still don't see any major network loss, right? I see some reds along the path, which are high latency links. But more importantly, I see the endpoint now is in Singapore instead of Ashburn. Now that's a much longer distance to cover to reach your payment service provider. And that's what is adding a high amount of latency to the experience. And this is not just about the latency. This is also the fact that you've now introduced a lot more hops along the way from your edge to the payment service providers. And this means a lot more failure points that could potentially degrade this experience. Now, in this case, what might have happened and why this change resulted was potentially a DNS or a load balancer change that the payment service provider made. Now, are they going to pick up the phone and call you and tell you, hey, we're going to make a change on our endpoint? No, they're not. Like, everyone's operating in their own sort of silo. And these changes are made without even realizing that it may or may not impact your experience as a user or a customer. So it is really important that with ThousandEyes and AppDynamics, you actually monitor all these dependencies together and really be proactive about understanding when there's a change. So with this problem being isolated and being very clear, right, in this case, that the endpoint has moved from Ashburn to Singapore, you can now take the action and click on this share functionality with ThousandEyes that lets you share this view that you have with your payment service provider so they can immediately understand that a change that was made on their side impacted your user experience. And with that knowledge, they are now armed to fix the problem pretty quickly. As we talked about before, the most exciting thing about all of this is really breaking these silos that exist in organizations today. Not just internal to your organization where your app teams and network teams and security teams work together, but also external to the organization. As in this case, right, you're working with your cloud providers or your third-party service providers, and you can truly bring all of these teams internally and externally together into one virtual team. Now that the problem is fixed, we see the traffic picking up again. And thankfully, there's no more revenue at risk, which is great news. But if you look at the right part of this image, what we are starting to see is some early signs of trouble. We're starting to see some stress on CPU and memory, which is natural because now you have more people going through that checkout experience. You have more traffic actually starting to hit your website. And thankfully, it hasn't created any revenue at risk yet, but it could in the next few seconds or minutes if you don't take action. And this is where we want to be proactive and fix this problem before it actually disrupts business. How do we do that? Well, that's the beauty of what you're going to see next in what Liz will cover with this section of optimization is the profit. Liz, can you help us understand how we fix this?
Hey, Mohit, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I can actually help here. And for that, I'm going to go into InterSight and, more so launch InterSight Workload Optimizer and the application view of InterSight Workload Optimizer. So what you're seeing on this page, if you look at it on the left-hand side, you have the dependency graph for the Fine Baked Pizza application. On the right-hand side of the screen, you actually see more so in the center, the top services for this application. So you're looking at the back end, the front end DNS, and it actually gives you, some red, some yellows and greens around the application resource. But so far, we're not seeing any SLO violation. So I'm going to leave that on its own for now. And then more so towards the middle left of the screen, you see a bunch of pending actions, and they're grouped together by categories. So you can see there's about a configuration action, a couple of scaling actions, etc. And this comes from the recommendation engine, and I'll talk to that in a little bit or so, right? So let's come back to the dependency graph. So think about this as a list of entities that Fine Baked Pizza application is dependent on. So it looks at it and says, it's dependent on this set of containers, VMs, storage, the host. It actually, what it does is the way we build this out is we make API calls to every single entity that's on here. We make those calls to AppD, to the VMs, to containers, to storage, and the host as well, right? Every single set of component or entity that supports the Fine Baked Pizza application. And when it makes the calls to each one of these entities, it's able to find out its nearest dependency. And it collects, it correlates, it connects all of this data and builds out this dependency graph. And you can do this no matter where those entities sit. They can sit on-prem, could be sitting on-prem, partially in the cloud. It could be everything in the cloud as well. So you can take different slices of this as well. And what Interside Workload Optimizer does is it has a pretty powerful recommendation engine as well. And what the recommendation engine does is it crunches a massive set of data. It pulls in data around performance, around efficiency constraints. It pulls in historical data, and it can actually proactively flag issues as well. And so that's what you're seeing here when you look at this. Around the circles on each one of these entities, some of them have yellows and some of them have reds. And what's staring me right in the face right now is the virtual machines that are partially green, some yellow, and definitely a red out there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go check out what exactly is that red related to. So if I click on the virtual machine out there, what it pops up is that one of the VMs that's on there is actually running hot because of memory congestion issues. And there's a recommendation on there in terms of moving it from one host, which is a HyperFlex node 1, and moving it probably to a HyperFlex node 12 on the same cluster. And here, just to pop it up so that you can see it a lot more, before you actually take action, it actually shows you the before and after, right? So if you look at it before, what you're seeing is that the reason it's running hot is because if you look at HyperFlex node 1, we have a fixed memory of about 190.7 GB. And so the memory utilization is about 83.1%. And the recommendation is, look, there's a HyperFlex node 12. The memory is about the same, that's fixed, but it's running at a utilization of only 56.6%. And the recommendation is to move this VM from HyperFlex node 1 to 12. And that way, on node 1, the memory utilization falls to 68.6%. And in the new node, on node 12, it actually only goes up to 71.1%. So what the recommendation engine is suggesting is that make these changes right now so the infrastructure is also flexing along with the needs of the application. Because as more users come on and order more pizza, you don't want to get to the point where this crashes or falls apart. And here you can actually automate these actions, or you can just manually take action as well. This is a great example of when you think about it in terms of where you have multiple teams who have the same set of data, they speak the same business vocabulary, and they can work together and address issues before it really impacts an end user performance or an application performance for that matter. And if I'm going to go ahead and do this, all I need to do is hit apply selected, and it actually takes the action. It's that simple. Now I'm going to go back and take a look at the AppD dashboard, and like you can see, is everything here is green. So what we've done is we really have made the infrastructure dynamic so that it meets the needs of an ever-changing application. Okay, let me give you a quick recap of what you saw. Linda talked about the fact that with AppD Experience Journey, it gets you a view on application performance. So you get to focus on what matters most, the impact to your users and your business. And that's what you want to optimize for in terms of delivering the best user experience and the best application experience. Now with AppD integrated with Thousand Eyes, we've now expanded the visibility into the network and definitely into the internet, bringing along with it the context of user and applications so you can get to root cause analysis much faster and again, deliver the most optimal experience and make sure it doesn't impact your top line at all or minimizes the impact to your top line. And then I talked about Intersite Workload Optimizer. I showed you the dependency graph. It gives you a view of every single entity in there, every single component that your application is dependent on. And it's got a really powerful recommendation engine that crunches a bunch of data and is able to actually give you recommendations, flag issues, and give you the recommendations on how to address those issues before they impact the application experience. So in a way, you're making the infrastructure flexible so it can meet the needs of an ever-changing application. So all of these integrations that Linda, Mohit, and I talked about enable us to help you provide a closed loop operating model, breaking down the silos between your teams, delivering better operational efficiency and agility as well. As organizations, as your businesses begin relying more and more on modern applications, full stack observability is definitely emerging as the approach to enable developer speed, reduce the friction with the infrastructure teams, and enable the best experience. Because it's likely that in most cases, the best application experience beats functionality. There are 4 sessions that I would highly recommend. The first technical breakout goes into the details on the how, mostly of what we just talked about. The second technical breakout will be a deeper dive. It covers the Thousand Eyes integration into App Dynamics that Linda demoed, as well as the new Cisco Secure Application Solution. Now, in the third technical session, we actually have one of our great customers, Automation, joining us. And in the fourth session, we'll cover how Thousand Eyes gets insights from external networks and services and can help you fill that visibility gap that puts user experience at risk for both business critical online applications and for employee productivity SaaS apps as well. The session will also cover how Thousand Eyes integrates with AppD and the Catalyst 9K Switch series, and that can help you improve service delivery for customers and employees. And lastly, I want to say thank you very much. Thanks for joining us here and hope you have a fantastic time at Cisco Live.
Full stack observability. How important for the digital applications that we're building for our customers today. I love that session with Liz, Mohit, and Linda. Now at the end of it, Liz was taking us through the deep dive technical sessions that you could go to actually see in greater detail what those look like. To get to those technical sessions, you would go to ciscolive.com/2021 and you would go into the technical sessions. That's going to require a pass. You can do that at any time you want and watch those sessions. The other thing I want to remind you is that our experts are standing by live waiting for you in our world of solutions. So they would love to do these demos for you. There's a bunch of demos that you can watch on demand, and there are the live ones. And then finally, I really want to encourage you to get into that live Q&A where people are standing by ready to answer your questions. But now it's time for a little bit of a brain break. And how about we move and we do some dancing? So big call out to CDW for creating this time for us. Have fun.
All right, here we go. Another mini dance set. This time is sponsored by CDW. It's time to party. It's time to get up. It's time to go grab a beverage, stretch a little bit. The main thing is have a good time. That is what Cisco Live 2021 is all about. Cisco Live 2021. Hope you're having fun. We got just under a minute left in this dance set. So get up, party, have some fun with me, stretch out, because we got some great presentations later, great activities, all the fun stuff. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. DJ Nick D, come on. Once again, I want to thank all of you for joining us for this mini little dance set here. And thanks to our sponsor, CDW, for sponsoring this. Have some fun, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Cisco Live. Let's go.
Thank you, CDW, for that fun break. And Ray, I loved your headphones. So I hope you all had a lot of fun and got around and had a bit of a bop as well. Now, if you've just tuned into the Innovation channel, I do want to remind you, for the first time, we're translating in 7 languages: Vietnamese, Thai, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, and simplified and traditional Chinese. So make sure you click on translation on the home page. And also go and check out all of the Anytime session library. We've got over 350 sessions and demos available. No rush to watch them, just watch them at your own convenience. And also 100 connected learning sessions as well. And if you scout around in there, there's this great little game called Capture the Flag, which provides hands-on learning experience, and you get to solve interesting challenges across different technology tracks. So now I'm going to hand over to Ray, who's going to tell us what's coming up next. Let us know, Ray.
Thanks, Seema. Hey, we've got a great session coming up for you. This is with Scott Harrell and Mohit Ladd. And Scott is always a big hit with our APJC Cisco Live, so we've got him digitally now instead of on site. They're going to be taking us through learning how the network strategies that are necessary to address this rapidly evolving cloud edge. So many of our customers are talking about us. So many of our customers are talking about how they have workloads and all these different cloud options. So enjoy this session, cloud networking from the edge and back. Enjoy.
Hi and welcome. This is one of our favorite events of the year in Cisco Live. And the reason is because we get to talk to networking professionals. These are the people that we build so much great capability for, and it's exciting time to showcase this all to you. And we know from talking with many of you that one of the biggest challenges your organization is facing is the transition to the cloud. And we want to take this session to provide some insights into some new capabilities that can help you own your enterprise's journey to the multi-cloud and make that outstanding for your company while making it super secure. And the challenge that we see when we talk to enterprises is that a lot of the companies are not just using one cloud, they're using the colocation facilities, they're using SaaS applications, they're using IaaS providers, and oftentimes multiple of those, while they still maintain their private cloud, their campus, their branch, and increasingly remote workers. And what this means is that they have a lot of diversity that they need to bring common capabilities to, whether it's common experience and governance, or it's simply the need to provide performance across this diverse array and make sure it's done with an ease of operations and a cost outcome that meets the needs of the business, all while going super fast. And so to help you do that, Cisco's been focused on how do we bring our tools together in such a way across this multi-cloud estate so that we can provide IT consistency, so you can have consistency of operations no matter where the workload resides. And this is really important as you think through all the different things you need to do to provide connectivity, to provide security, to provide assurance in this multi-cloud world. And so today we're going to talk about a bunch of new innovations, but I want to start by talking about how we do this, which is really about bringing together automation and insights with a single Cisco platform strategy to actually provide these kind of outcomes of better experiences, better simplicity so that you can manage this diversity and more confidence in what you're developing so that you can provide better security back to your organization. This is the core of what we do, is really combining that automation layer with that insight layer to make you more agile as an IT organization. And so the three sets of areas we're going to cover as far as innovations go today is number one, around automating the secure edge. How do you bring together security and networking so that you can have a secure journey to the cloud? Number two is about how do you on-ramp into these clouds, whether it's an IS provider, a SaaS provider, or it's a colocation facility. How do we enable you to do that at scale securely? And number three is then once you get this all set up, how do you monitor and manage and observe it? And we'll talk about some new innovations there, as well as some new technology we brought in the company. But we want to start on that first one, about automating the secure edge. And how do we get teams that perhaps haven't had to collaborate that much together in the past, like your secure SecOps team and your NetOps team, to now work hand in hand in developing an outcome for the company. And we know this can be a stressful situation. We know that a lot of times this can be a challenging situation. And we want to play a little video for you that shows, how some of these interactions have taken place in the past, and maybe what some of the experiences you've had in your own organization. So can we roll the video?
Why don't you pretend that this puppet here is Rob? What? And act out some of the ways that Rob acts, the things that he does that bother you.
Oh my God. Oh, gladly. Hi, I'm Rob. I'm a networking person, so I don't understand anything about security. Oh, want me to open up all the ports for you, Mr. Hacker? No problem. Here's all that sensitive information you just asked for. Compliance? What's that? I'm just the plumber around here. I don't care what's in the pipes, as long as they're flowing. You a security person who wants to secure my network? Tell you what, why don't you write up a paper with all of your proposals in it, and I'll schedule us a meeting for the 35th of Never. Whoops. Time for my coffee break. See you in a few hours.
Let's have you speak to us in his voice.
Yeah.
Using the puppet.
Yes.
Blurg! I'm the security expert. Do we even need the internet? All it does is attract a bunch of hackers. I say that we close down all the ports and keep everyone out. Oh, you don't like that plan? Well, I'm just gonna go over your head to your boss and give him a bunch of spooky tales about hackers and malware. Hey, you know what? I say that we slow down that network traffic way, way, way down. Budgets? Infrastructure? What are these things? I've never heard these words before. Oh, something broke. I'd love to help you fix it, but my band's got a gig tonight, so I gotta go home and tune my bass and shave hashtags into my beard.
Hopefully none of you will actually have to go through that kind of therapy session with your fellow teammates. Our goal is to make it simple for the two teams to work together, to make it to where these two teams can function in a way that they can drive the best outcome for the organization. And that's really about how do we bring together our best-in-class cloud security in the form of Umbrella with our best-in-class SD-WAN capabilities and make it super simple to connect, secure, and automate your traffic independent of where it's going and where it's coming from. And the way we do this is we really focus on how do we converge the workflows for these NetOps and SecOps teams. We start with making it very simple to deploy and to operate. And this comes in the form of a day zero automation of onboarding and provisioning. So you can connect that SD-WAN fabric directly into the Umbrella cloud service as super simple as possible. And then as you go to operate this, we actually bring in capabilities like solution level routing and load balancing that is aware of that Umbrella fabric and actually uses that to provide the optimal experience to your users. And then on day two, we actually bring in proactive monitoring of this environment with things like application level health checks. And this is the foundation of what we call our SASE offer. And we're going to be rolling out a lot of new capabilities around this, but we're also going to be rolling out new, simpler ways for you to consume this as you look forward with new bundled offers that make this super simple to consume and attractive for you to do all at once from your organization from a commercial point of view. The other big part of this, though, is when you talk about best-in-class software, you have to layer that on best-in-class hardware. And if you didn't see it, we recently launched the Catalyst 8000 series. This is a brand new set of hardware that's optimized for that secure SD-WAN edge and is the best-in-class hardware to provide the best experience for your company and your employees. We've also complemented that with a new Catalyst 8000V. All of this leverages the IOS XE best-in-class OS that's used on our Catalyst switching series, our Catalyst wireless series, as well as now our Catalyst routing series. So encourage you guys to embrace this and look at this. This is really great new technology that's out there and available today. And if you talk to our customers, they're using all these capabilities. Woodforest National Bank. I love this because they talk about speed. They talk about the fact that it took them less than 45 minutes to go from rack to stack, leveraging LTE wireless connectivity to deploy SD-WAN into their environments. Really powerful, really good returns for the business. And if you look at Rydell, they actually went a step further. They layered in security into the solution, and they used the Catalyst 8000 as part of that foundation so that they could provide security wherever it was needed in the right format, whether it's at the branch or whether it's in the cloud, and make it super simple for them to deploy at scale. So we talked about the ability to layer in security into your SD-WAN deployments. But a lot of what our customers are looking for also is how do they on-ramp to the cloud? And there's really 3 dimensions of this. The first one's around site to cloud. How do you seamlessly interconnect your SD-WAN fabric to the IaaS provider, whether this is a Google Cloud, whether this is AWS or Azure? How do you make that as simple and secure as possible? The second piece is how do you interconnect sites, especially when you're transiting over the internet and you're trying to do this yourself and build your own SD-WAN fabric, and how can we make that better and better as an experience? The third is a more newer area where people are starting to have multiple different application environments, whether it's SaaS or IaaS, private data centers, colos, and they want to now interconnect these and they want to do it in a dynamic way. We're providing solutions across all these domains, and we have new updates that I want to share with you right now that are around these new solutions. So the first one is around AWS. We've been partnering with AWS for many releases now and providing new capabilities to integrate with them. Well, in April, we're actually going to release this integration with the Transit Gateway Connect from AWS. And why this is so important to you is that it provides these incredible outcomes. Because you move from IPsec to GRE, we're able to give you 4x the bandwidth from a connectivity to your VPCs. We're also able to provide things like private IP addressing for better security, a many-fold increase in BGP route scale, and by integrating also with AWS Transit Gateway Network Manager with vManage, we're also able to provide site-to-cloud observability. Really exciting, and we'll be there in our next release in April. But we're not stopping there. We're also working now with Google Cloud. If you happened to watch their announcements last week, you would have seen this. But we've actually integrated our SD-WAN fabric directly into Google Cloud so you can connect to the workloads from any site in a secure manner and do it in a fully automated manner. And this is really powerful. This is about extending the SD-WAN fabric into that Google Cloud so that you have the best experience as you connect to the workloads that are hosted there. But we want to step further with Google Cloud. We actually took it to the point where we actually leverage some of the capabilities that are native to Google Cloud that you can now take advantage of on an on-demand basis. And if you're building your own SD-WAN fabric, you know, one of the challenges you have is as you leverage the internet, you're subject to kind of best effort experiences as you go from site to site. With Google Cloud, you can now connect into the Google Cloud global network and provide an optimized experience for your end users as they move from site to site and as the traffic transits from site to site. And you can do this in an on-demand fashion by connecting Cisco's Cloud Hub with Google's Cloud. Really powerful solution. This starts shipping in April too. We're super excited about this. It really changes the way you actually build an SD-WAN fabric when you're doing it yourself. The third aspect's around interconnect. And I mentioned this early on, but a lot of times when you want to interconnect these different cloud services, it means you have to do a lot of manual work as an enterprise if you're building your own fabric. And you have to source peering connections. You have to actually get this stood up in different colo providers. And you have to do this manually, and it takes time, and it takes money, and it takes effort. What we've done is we've partnered with a company called Megaport to actually make that a more on-demand experience. When you actually have applications running in the cloud, you want them to be dynamic. You want to have the ability to spin them up and spin them down. Well, your interconnect capacity should be the same. And we have partnered with Megaport to make that happen so that you can now use vManage to integrate with Megaport and then automatically spin up connections between these different clouds. And so rather than keep talking about this, I actually want to show you how this works, because this technology really shines when you show how this actually works in real life. So we're going to switch to the demo now. So let's start the demo, and we'll start with the vManage main dashboard here. And let's look at our first use case, which is site to cloud, and show how we securely automate connectivity to workloads in Google Cloud. We'll start with Cloud On-Ramp for multi-cloud configuration workflow. From here, we link our SD-WAN fabric to our Google Cloud instances. For the purposes of this demo, we've already linked our Google Cloud account and assigned a template to pair our newly released Catalyst 8000 Vs. The next step is to create a cloud gateway using the Catalyst 8000 Vs in the template previously assigned. We need to specify the software image, the IP subnet, and the specific Catalyst 8000 V UUIDs. And now we add that, and we can see that this will be automatically created in Google Cloud, and we can watch in real time as the system does this. You can now see the cloud gateway in Google Cloud, and the two newly created devices are reachable as we go back to the main configuration screen. And our next step will be to map our virtual private clouds, or VPCs, that are tied to our applications. Here we see VPCs auto-discovered by vManage within our Google instance. In just a few clicks, we can create connectivity between the VPCs. We can see the system create these mappings in real time, just like we did for the setup of the Google Cloud connection. And what's important here is this is the same flow that we use for other clouds. So as discussed, this provides consistency in operations across our multi-cloud environments. And now that that is complete, we can move on to our next use case. For those of you that are operating and architecting your own SD-WAN fabric, much of the onus is on you to determine your interconnection strategy. With Cisco SD-WAN and Cloud Interconnect, we can dramatically simplify this process by automating connectivity into Megaport and leveraging their facilities and ability to provide premium site-to-site, site-to-cloud, and region-to-region connectivity. Being able to dynamically and quickly deploy, test, and validate SD-WAN policy and investment is paramount. So to help do that, we're going to leverage Thousand Eyes to see how our current latency is between our sites. The latency is currently 350 milliseconds, which is above our internal thresholds. You can see that on the upper right, and likely to result in poor application experience for our users. You can also see at the bottom of the screen here that as this traffic flows over the internet from source to destination, it takes a very complex route, a multitude of ops with various latency characteristics, and this adds to the issues we're seeing, and that's where you can see the red lines here. We can address this application experience issue with SD-WAN Cloud Interconnect over Megaport that provides customers with the ability to optimize interconnections when running their own WAN. You can quickly create connections and tear down connections when not needed. So let's now create our Megaport Cloud Gateway. So first we need to define the gateway name, our location, we'll do that now, which is Equinix to Colo in Sydney, and again, the UUID of the Catalyst 8000 Vs. Once we've done that, we can see the system deploying these Catalyst 8000 Vs. And now that we have our Megaport gateway configured, it's time to activate the policy. Now we've already got a predefined policy that will route the traffic utilizing the newly added Megaport gateways. So all we have to do now is activate this policy. And now we can do that and see the system is going to apply this policy. And we can watch that happen as well. And as that gets completed, we can go back to our Thousand Eyes instance, and we can actually look at the impact of this on our actual system in real time. And what we see is the latency values have dropped between our Ashburn and Sydney sites as it's now going through the Catalyst 8000 Vs that act as our Megaport gateways. resulting in near 66% latency reduction from 320 milliseconds to 141 milliseconds. Additionally, if you look at the bottom, you can see the underlay topology was dramatically simplified with this insertion. And this is the power of these capabilities. It's not just the ability to configure these things, but it's actually the ability to observe it with Thousand Eyes. And there's no better person on the planet to talk to you about Thousand Eyes than the former founder, as well as the current leader for this within Cisco, Mohed Lad. So I want to bring him on, and he's going to talk to you more about this and give you more than just the little taste I gave you here. So Mohed, take it away.
Thank you, Scott. I'm super excited to be here at Cisco Live. This is my first Cisco Live, and I'm really excited to introduce Thousand Eyes to you all, and more importantly, talk about how we're taking Thousand Eyes to the next level inside of Cisco. And before I go into talking more about Thousand Eyes, I want to start with just the premise of why Thousand Eyes was created. And this revolves around three major shifts that we saw in the modern enterprise architecture. The first being that the cloud was truly becoming the new data center. Internet becoming the new network, not just for online applications that you were delivering to your customers, but also for internal IT with the proliferation of SD-WAN and SaaS adoption and the work from home that you see today. The internet really is the new corporate backbone. And finally, SaaS applications such as Office 365 and WebEx and so on are becoming the new application stack. The common theme across all of these is that you lose control of the environment. And what does that actually mean when it comes to losing control of the environment? This is what an enterprise organization used to look like before, with a lot of focus on data center where the applications used to be built and people sitting in branch offices, and pretty much a very closed environment. And what is happening now with the proliferation of SaaS and cloud and work from home is it's becoming more and more fragmented. So you can see public cloud starting to take over. You're starting to see a lot of SaaS applications. And the journey to both of these is very much over the internet. You have home users, you have other things like CDN and DNS providers. And our goal at Thousand Eyes is to make sure that this environment, while it's very fragmented and consisting of all these third parties on the internet, is looking like one seamless network and one seamless environment for you. And the way we do that is to really collect information on the performance across all these elements using various components, such as what we call as cloud agents. And this is what we use to collect a lot of intelligence on the public internet. Then we have technology called enterprise agents that go inside your organization and let you see through that path from within your organization all the way to cloud and so on. And then we have endpoint agents that go on to end users and extend that even further to people that are working from home and so on and so forth. And we put all of this together in one seamless view for you. So you can truly see this environment as one picture. And that's just not from a network standpoint only, that's also really tying all the different layers of user experience. So we start at the application experience, which is central to what you should care about, and then go down to the service level experience, to the network, to the layer 3 paths, and even going down all the way to BGP. So you could actually relate a BGP flap with the experience that your users might be having with Office 365. That's the kind of correlation that we would provide to you as a customer. Now, I talked about the proliferation of SaaS, and I want to use that as a premise of one example that we can help you understand how the Thousand Eyes view can decode that SaaS experience journey. So with that, let me switch over to a simple example, and let's use Salesforce in this case as one of the applications that your organization might be using, and I'll show you how Thousand Eyes can help you simplify that view. So we talked about this proliferation of SaaS and what this means to your organization. Let's walk through a simple example of how we can troubleshoot and understand user experience to SaaS applications such as Salesforce in this case. What you're seeing here is the Thousand Eyes view of the journey from your branch offices over here on the world map to Salesforce. And on a typical day, everything looks green. We can see the information we capture from the web service layer to network to BGP, and we even have things like transactions where you can simulate a user workflow. But while everything is green here, there's periods of time where the availability starts to drop. And as I click on one of these periods, I can start to see that some of my sites are red, indicating that these sites are having some challenges connecting to Salesforce. Now, this would have generated an instant alert for me, and I would be looking at this before my users start to call in and complain about the user experience. From this manifestation of a problem, I can now start to understand what might be causing it by jumping between the layers. So from the web layer, I click on the network layer, and with this view, I can jump to just the pure network metrics such as loss, latency, and jitter from the same sites to the same application. And as you see here, there's some spikes in packet loss which correspond to that application experience availability issue that we are seeing from the same sites. So this tells me that the network is actually having some disruption. But what I'd like to know next is where in the network is this issue? Is this my environment, or is this the internet or the SaaS application? So when I click on this path visualization, this tells me that journey all the way from my sites on the left-hand side to the Salesforce application servers on the right-hand side. And I can see it's being served out of 2 different IP addresses. And I can also scroll over here and see the different upstream providers, as well as every single provider along the way that sits between my edge sites and Salesforce, whether it's my environment or the public internet. Now fast forward to when there is an issue, there are reds that are showing up. And these reds are indicating problems in one of the upstream providers that Salesforce was using. Now this is one of those situations where Salesforce itself doesn't have an application issue, but somewhere along the network, in this case in their upstream provider, there's an issue. And you can quickly share this data in an interactive format with your contacts at the SaaS application provider side, so they can see this same interactive view that you are seeing and be able to quickly understand why you're having an experience issue and potentially resolve it right away for you. So in this case, all it requires from the application service provider is to turn off that BGP connection and route all traffic across one of their other BGP peers, right? Problem fixed. Hopefully this is a very simple example, but shows the power that ThousandEyes can bring to not just understand the application experience, but also understand all those underlying dependency across these hybrid environments, so you can get quick instant visibility and take quick actions when you have a problem. So hopefully that's a quick preview of how ThousandEyes can help in your journey to SaaS. And this is really exciting because we're announcing today that ThousandEyes will now be available and as a default image in your latest Catalyst 9000 switching families software. And this lets you start and enable ThousandEyes instantly within your environment. And I wanted to show you a sneak preview of what that might look like in addition to what Scott shared with his Megaport example. With ThousandEyes at the Catalyst switching portfolio, you can start to visualize all these SD-WAN and internal environments and that journey to cloud seamlessly. So in this example, what we are showing you is this web server throughput from your branch location. In this case, it's in Bangalore, to a data center in the west coast of the United States. And as you can notice here, the throughput is not that great. It's about 5 megs per second. And one of the things we've done here is turned on the app QoE functionality within the SD-WAN environment that helps you optimize the TCP and DRE environments. And that provides, as you can see, a much higher throughput once that functionality is turned on. You can even go down to the network visualizations and really see that overlay experience. And you can see that the choppy network loss here, as well as the actual underlay paths going through the internet under the SD-WAN environments. And this sort of visualization is not just helpful for troubleshooting, but it's also helpful to show back to the business that the investments you've made into SD-WAN and the functionalities that you have are actually impacting the user experience in a very, very positive way, in spite of the underlying choppy networks that you have to go through. So as mentioned, I'm really excited today to launch an integration with the Cisco Catalyst 9000 switching family, and ThousandEyes enterprise agents are going to be part of the default image going forward. Now this is super exciting because you can turn on ThousandEyes within seconds from anywhere in your branch environment. And that's something Scott and I have been super excited about. Scott, over to you.
Mohit, I gotta agree. This is super exciting. The fact that when you buy a Catalyst switch, you automatically get the ability to run ThousandEyes, and it's embedded in the DNA Advantage packaging. Like that just makes it super simple to get that visibility where you need it, as close to the user and device as you can. And this is going to be super powerful for all our customers. Very exciting stuff. Now, today you've heard about a lot of different things. We talked to you about how do you automate the secure edge and take away the complexity as the two NetOps and SecOps teams need to coordinate in the move to the cloud. Secondly, we talked about the on-ramp to every cloud and how we integrate with the different cloud providers and how we bring more capabilities on demand to you via vManage and the integrations we've curated and done for you. And third, we talked about some of the most exciting new technology within Cisco, which is ThousandEyes, and how it can provide visibility both into your day-to-day operations for this multi-cloud world, but also how you can show and demonstrate value back to your own company and how you can interconnect into other companies when you have a problem. Lots of great innovation, but this was only kind of a glimpse of this. If you want to learn more, you can go to cisco.com and there's a whole bunch of capabilities curated there for you and go get started. And then you can also go to the technical breakouts. We have many technical breakouts focused on secure SD-WAN, focused on ThousandEyes, focused on how we actually deal with a multi-cloud. And then you can go to the World of Solutions and see a demo. And if you want to know even more, you can also call your friendly neighborhood sales rep or partner, and they'll be willing to engage with you on this as well. Thank you so much for your time today, and we hope you have a great rest of your Cisco Live.
We've seen enormous change. And our day-to-day now looks very different. Small businesses have faced big challenges. Whether it's getting to work, working out how to reach customers, or just plain working, even face-to-face has a new meaning. But while the world and the way we work has changed, our commitment to helping businesses like yours hasn't. It's what we've always done. Whether it's keeping you securely connected, finding better ways to work, or making it possible to work anywhere, we've got your back. So no matter what happens next, we can help you be everything you want to be. We can help you thrive. Between surviving and thriving, there's a bridge.
Wasn't that a great session from Scott and Mohit? Multi-cloud environments are becoming more and more complex. And I loved hearing about how Cisco's bringing together automation and insights with a single platform strategy so it can provide a better experience and the agility that organizations are looking for to move securely to the cloud. Now, don't forget, fill out that session survey. You just have to go to My Surveys under your profile. And also, don't forget about the WebEx space. That's a great place to keep the conversation going with your peers, with other technical specialists as well. And that space will stay moderated till April 2nd, but we will have it open after Cisco Live is over as well if you want to continue networking. Now, I just want to give a quick few shout outs to Peter Jones, who seems to be having a blast on social media, and Bill Carter. I love how you're recreating the Cisco Live dinner experience. And don't forget, join ciscolive.com /2021. Over to you, Ray.
Thanks so much, Seema. Hey, everyone, I'm super excited about this next session. It's one of my favorite product lines at Cisco. It's all about Meraki. And this one, our SVP and GM, Chris Story, he's actually brought in a lot of global customers who are using Meraki. You'll see so many different use cases. One of them right here from APJC. So I hope you have fun. Enjoy the Meraki session. Don't forget to get in the live Q&A if you've got questions.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us here for the Meraki session at Cisco Live. No matter where you're joining this from, excited that you are here with us today. My name is Chris Story. I'm the general manager of Meraki, and I'm extremely excited to be here. We continue to live in this pandemic, and while things have improved, we recognize that many of you are extremely tired of watching screens. So we are going to be as brief and concise as we can today. So let's just jump right into it. As everyone knows, it's a little bit over a year since the WHO declared a global pandemic. And I think for all of us, we have our, stories of how we have navigated, especially those early days and what it was like and what we were doing when we transitioned to this world. And for me personally, my story is I actually was promoted to look after the Meraki business and be the GM, less than a week before the WHO declared the global pandemic. And so for me, my journey here has been, first step was to help lead this organization, this amazing group of talented people, of innovators, to continue to deliver in this virtual world. And I'm just so excited to be able to share with you some of the great stuff that we have already launched recently, as well as have coming up. So for today, what we thought we'd do is, first the pandemic, one of those unexpected changes that has changed everything. But, for us at Meraki, one of the things that gets us most excited is hearing directly from our customers. So we're going to start today, hear directly from our customers how they've navigated this challenge and how Meraki has played a role in that, in this transition and in this new world. Next, we're going to talk about the advantage of the Meraki platform. We'll go into some updates. We're going to show you some demos of features that are already up and available today. And we're really excited to share that with you. And then finally, we're going to talk about some things that are coming in the future. We're going to talk, as you may have heard in the keynote, about SASE, Secure Access Service Edge, the coming together of networking and cloud security. We have a great story here for you. We have great technologies available for you to use today, but we also want to give you a sneak peek into what's coming here in the future. So with that, as I said, the global pandemic has, really been an unexpected change for all of us, even though it was over a year ago now. And what gets us excited is hearing it directly from customers of how they've navigated this situation and how Meraki's been their partner to them with this. So with that, let's please roll the video.
So Bay State College is a small career-focused school. We sit in the heart of downtown Boston. Back in March, when all of the colleges shut down, we immediately went in to figure out, how do we get our students back? How do we implement a contact tracing solution so that should someone come on campus that unfortunately was COVID positive, it would not have an impact on the entire campus?
LaSalle College High School is a private Catholic independent school. We spend a great deal of time really focusing on IT education in our curriculum. When COVID struck, everything changed for everyone right across the board. And I got a call from my president saying, everything's on hold.
Yeah, certainly the early days of COVID was a bit chaotic, to say the least. We are a postal organisation, but we also deliver a lot of government-based services. We also deliver a lot of financial services, and being that hub of the community, it is so important that our network services are reliable and available.
Tandem Health is considered a family quality health center, and we have 6 locations here in Sumter, South Carolina. You always got to remember, healthcare never stops. Healthcare constantly goes on and on and on, no matter what's going on with the outside world. When COVID came along, it was like we were worrying about having the throughput, enough throughput on all of our switches to do what we needed to do.
The beauty of the solution we came up with is we've always had IDs, and our students need that to get on campus. We're going to give you a Bluetooth badge. We're going to give you a lanyard. We didn't want to know where somebody was just generally on which floor. We wanted to know within 6-8 feet. And working closely with the Meraki engineers, they actually worked on their API code with us and with our needs and requirements. We ended up with a really good solution that works excellent for our campus.
As we started to realize what instruction was going to look like in the 2020-21 school year, we started to realize that we needed a simple solution that provided extraordinary amount of bandwidth to be able to accommodate this need, which was going to be synchronous classrooms, and we knew every one of those classrooms was going to be broadcasting their classes and bringing in their students every day. And that's where the Meraki piece showed its clear value directly to that instructional bandwidth and getting those kids learning in real time in a synchronous way.
So we had explosion in volumes, restriction in workforce, restriction in air freight, restriction in how we travel, and we had to balance all that. Really come up with technology solutions to enable all of our people to work safely and remotely from home. Part of COVID, it really accelerated the rollout of WebEx. We ended up, rolling that out to over 13,000 staff in 48 hours.
We wanted to be able to service our patients to the best of our abilities. Our old infrastructure was pretty dated. We had some other stuff in here that it was just old. So it was time for it to go. That's when Meraki just popped in my head, because my IT department is small. It's cloud-based. I can manage it from pretty much anywhere.
We needed the single pane of glass simplicity that Meraki was going to afford us. We're a small department. I'm currently the only IT professional, essentially, that works in a school of 1,100 kids.
The fact that we actually have a handbook now that our sites can self-install Meraki within a couple of hours is a capability that we've never had.
I don't have to log into a VPN. I don't have to do any of that stuff in order to get to any of my equipment. As long as I got my dashboard, I'm always connected.
Being able to do what we do and do it really well in an online space. We knew that Meraki was the way to impress and maintain our status as the premier technology school in the Delaware Valley.
I think we've now built ourselves a fantastic backbone to then explore other services and provide even more enablers for our business.
Our hope, obviously, is this is not the new normal. We'd all like to return back to a year ago before COVID. When that happens, we have a robust wireless solution in place that will serve our campus well into the future.
I love hearing from our customers directly about how they use the platform, and thanks to those 4 customers who helped us do those videos. Really appreciate you taking the time to share your stories. And what I take away from some of those, and what I heard there was really customers, from small to large, throughout the world. Different industries, different goals, different missions that they are trying to accomplish, all talk about how the Meraki platform helped them really not just be able to react and work through the pandemic, but also be able to thrive and respond incredibly well to the pandemic. And I think what I hear in that is this idea of the flexibility of the Meraki platform, being able to help them achieve their mission, but being able to respond to the differences and challenges that they have. In education, where the challenge is bringing people back to school safely. In the healthcare, being able to transition to a telemedicine offering, really quickly when the crisis first hit. To the Australian Post example, where they had to keep going and provide those essential services because it was so important for the entire population of Australia, quite frankly, to be able to succeed during this time. So, what we've increasingly heard from customers is that, after going through COVID and after going through the pandemic and the shutdowns and all the changes that have happened, that they really feel with the Meraki platform that they are more future-proof, that, no matter what the next unexpected event is, because we're not necessarily going to be able to predict it, they know that they have the power of the Meraki platform that's going to be flexible enough to meet their needs, but also simple and scalable enough that they can make changes quickly and at scale, because customers big and small need to make those changes very, very quickly and need to respond quickly. So I just want to jump into really 2 things here. Talk a little bit more first about Tandem Health. I love this team. It's a team of 2 people that are responsible for keeping up 8 different sites of, really high-tech medical equipment that they got to keep operating, and they got to keep their network up and running to be able to serve their clients. And in this case, Tandem had a new CIO that had come onto the job, and when COVID hit, they looked at their network and they quickly saw that their network was not going to be able to support them in this transition. And so they worked with a partner and found really quickly that overnight they needed to rapidly change because their patients were not wanting to come into the clinics, and especially in those early days, it was very uncertain, and people didn't want to take any risks. So they needed to figure out how they could continue to serve patients in this remote environment, moving towards a more of a telehealth model. And their network was just not going to cut it. So quickly they realized that they needed to move to the Meraki solution, and they went with a full stack Meraki solution using MX for SD-WAN and security, using our switching and our wireless access points, being able to have clinicians still come. Work that you do to keep your patients safe and healthy. The next one that I want to talk about here is you heard from Christina Chu from Australia Post. And I just love this example because Australia Post was a customer that was undergoing a transformation to use Meraki SD-WAN before COVID hit. And what they found though was when COVID hit, they were an example of a business that, really ramped up massively and had a lot more, customers and delivery needs that they needed to go do. As we all know how delivery services really spiked during COVID. And, they have over 4,000 sites that they were deploying Meraki SD-WAN to. And you heard Christina talk about how they, created playbooks for self-installs. And this is so important because those sites are often operating 24/7. They can't afford for those sites to be down at all. And with the Meraki solution, they could really cut over any matter of hours an entire site and keep it going and keeping it operated. And it's amazing to see, they were about 1,000 sites in, and when you look from how long it took them to go from 1,000 sites to 2,000 sites, it was less than 3 months. And they were really able, in this time of COVID, with the travel restrictions and all the challenges that were there, able to actually accelerate their Meraki deployments. And I love this quote from Christina. They built themselves a fantastic backbone to explore and other services and provide more value to their business on top of the Meraki platform, really speaking to the nature of how this helps make them future ready and be able to respond to the next issue or situation that's going on. So for Meraki, our mission remains the same: connecting passionate people by simplifying powerful technology, connecting passionate people to their mission, and simplifying the digital workplace. We really do help our customers use our products to achieve their mission, whether it's a school educating people, as you heard in the examples, or whether you're a company trying to serve your customers. And that remains our North Star. That remains what we're going to go do every single day. And with Meraki's evolved, intelligent, cloud-based networking platform, we allow our customers to move to that digital first world pretty quickly. So now what I really want to talk about is the scale. We are up at 575,000 customers now, 619,000 monthly active users on the dashboard, coming in, getting value out of the platform, helping them achieve their mission. Over 3 million networks now, and this one is just astounding, 140 million API calls every single day into the platform. This is growing rapidly and is such an important part of what we do. So now I'm going to switch over to a demo and show you some of the new dashboard features that we've been building that are now available to really show more about the power of the platform. One of the biggest advantages of the Meraki platform is ease of use. We spend a tremendous amount of time looking for ways how we can better raise issues and alert you to an issue, as well as how we can help you understand how to quickly fix that issue. A great example of this is something that's available now in Dashboard is around guided troubleshooting. Here, the example, the demo I'm going to give you is a sticky client situation. Sticky clients often happen in wireless because the client decides which AP they are going to connect to, and often they might connect to a less than optimal AP with a lower signal strength than they should. Here, what we do is we actually go ahead and alert you that, hey, we recommend you fix this issue with this client, and because they have low signal strength, we will ask you to disconnect that client. And when you click on that button, the guided troubleshooting is actually going to stick with you, and it's going to monitor the situation. It's going to wait for that client to come back. And here we see that client actually was able to reconnect and have a much better signal strength, and you've addressed the issue. In cases, though, where you actually don't fix the issue, what our guided troubleshooting will do, will continue to take you down a path to continue to troubleshoot that problem and try to resolve it for you. And ultimately, we also have a feedback in the mechanism. You can see this, was this helpful, to help provide inputs back into our models to be able to improve our troubleshooting. So over time, they get even better for you. All right, and now the next demo that I'm going to give you is around alerting. All right, the next demo I want to show you is how we continue to improve our capabilities around alerting. We continue to get feedback that our customers want better alerting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to navigate to network-wide alerts, and you're going to see 3 new alerts that we have built in. The first is around high bandwidth, or sorry, poor signal strength. The next is high bandwidth usage, and the next is failed connections. Now, we've made it both simple to configure the alerts, as well as help you to have the suggested actions and the contextual information you need to take on action across that alert. First one I'm going to show you is high bandwidth usage. When we click into it and add the alert, you can see we have 3 variables for you to select from. What we heard from customers is like, please make this simple for us to do. Don't make it that when we're trying to set up an alert that we have to go through a 3-day exercise to figure out what the right thresholds or floors or limits are. So what we have here is we allow you to choose your SSID, the threshold level that you want, and the time period over you want the trigger to actually get alerted from. So once you actually select those, we will go ahead and issue those alerts. And, you know, like I said, what we heard from customers is that make it simple, but give me the contextual information. And so what I'll do here is I'll switch over to the email alert that you will get when this gets actually triggered. And what you see here is that we try to give you that contextual information and give you the guidance on what you need to do. So, you know, we have the network, the organization, and then we try to tell you what the likely root cause was and what the recommended fixes were. And then, you know, we give you even more information about what the high bandwidth usage was, what the top clients that were impacted were. So it helps you get that rich contextual information to be able to take action and move your network forward. And again, we have that feedback loop where we are going to collect that information, was this helpful or not, to help improve the way that we are doing our alerting over time. Now, the next alert that I want to highlight for you is failed connections. Now, failed connections to a network are inherently quite noisy, and especially for certain networks, you know, this is something that is an ever-changing, you know, over time and even each day of what a real alert that should need to be triggered here is. So what we did here is we used machine learning algorithms to be able to alert you to what's going on. And to be able to set what that baseline is to when you actually should be alerted. So when you go ahead and click on this, you know, we'll go ahead and select auto baselining, and allow the machine learning algorithms to be able to set the actual thresholds rather than you having to configure those thresholds. And then after we do that, when we navigate back over to our wireless clients page and click on the wireless health, you can see we now have anomalies that are being called out of when you have issues, allowing you to quickly see where there might be issues and then do more troubleshooting from here. Again, trying to give you those rich contextual information. If that alert does get triggered, we will give you that and we'll help you to call out and see the contextual information to better diagnose and solve the problems. And with that, we'll go back to the presentation here. We're really excited for those new capabilities that we've built into the dashboard. And so now if we switch over to, back to the presentation, our platform really enables our customers to shed complications as you continue to evolve. And our platform allows you to simplify IT management of all devices, of all the Meraki devices through that single pane of glass, through our Meraki dashboard with our tailored solutions, and importantly, provide more flexibility with our APIs, allowing customers to do custom developed solutions on top of our APIs, or work with our ecosystem partners and buy or build applications on top of the Meraki platform, really allowing for ultimate flexibility. We continue to build on the products that we allow you to manage through that single pane of glass, most recently launching our line of environmental sensors. We have more to come on this, and you'll hear more about this in some of the breakout sessions. But we are continued to be really excited about how we help you do software-defined access, software-defined WAN, SASE, and IoT. Now, I do want to spend a moment and just talk about our SASE journey. While we help our customers remove complexity, the evolution is clearly going to be into SASE for a lot of organizations. And as I said in the beginning, SASE, Secure Access Service Edge, the combination of networking and cloud security. And for Meraki, we are looking to remove that complexity by providing an agile, intelligent, and simple way for our users to take advantage of this new architecture. And really, we have that available today. Meraki SD-WAN plus Umbrella Cloud Native Security. You can deploy this today with the solutions we have today, and we're really excited to see more and more customers rolling this out. And this is true both of the Meraki SD-WAN offering as well as the Viptela more flexible SD-WAN offering. But for Meraki, this phase one, it's really not enough. We know we can make this simpler. We know we can make it better. And I'm going to highlight and demo in a minute what you may have also seen in the keynote here. A simple SD-WAN integrated with cloud security, and we'll have a lot more to say about that as we go along. And then finally, we are doing all of this with our as a service end state in mind, the Cisco Plus vision, which you heard about earlier today. We are building everything with that in mind to make it seamlessly for you to move over to that. So with that, I'm going to switch over to the demo here and show you what's coming later this year for Meraki SD-WAN integrated with cloud security. So what we're going to show you here is how you can extend your Meraki SD-WAN fabric directly into the Umbrella Cloud and connect into the Cisco Umbrella Secure Internet Gateway, or SIG. You can set up this architecture like I talked about is this phase one. We can do this today. You just manually have to set up a split tunnel to connect into this. But what I want to show you here is what's coming later this year to make it even simpler and easier for our customers. So we'll start out here. We'll go to the organization and the cloud on-ramp. We'll click into that. Once that is launched, you can see we can connect our Umbrella account here. We'll click on that, and we're going to fill out our Umbrella SD-WAN connector information with our API keys, our API secret, and our Umbrella organization ID. We go ahead and submit that. It's going to connect into the Umbrella Cloud, and now we're ready to deploy. already we are deploying Umbrella SD-WAN. We're going to give it a name. We're going to call it SIG-US. We're going to choose our primary and our secondary data centers, and then we're going to protect all spokes in this case. In this case now, once this is live, we'll protect all our spokes. We can go into deployments. We can see our primary and our secondary setup here on SIG-US. And then we can go into the organization overview site, and boom, there we see our two new networks, our SIG-US and primary and secondary. And now we are protecting our entire network here with the secure internet gateway services from Cisco Umbrella. Making it super easy for you to do. You can see how quickly you can do this, and you can deploy a network secure internet gateway SASE on the road to SASE infrastructure in less than a minute here. So with that, we're going to go back to the slides. This year has been complex and challenging for all of us. And we're really excited, though, at Meraki that we continue to deliver innovation that helps move our customers forward, no matter what challenges are thrown at them. We're really excited for some of our future SASE solutions that are coming out later this year. And we're continuing to work with you to transform your infrastructure and evolve your digital workplace. We're right there with you on this journey together and making sure that we build the best networking technology solutions that you can use. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for watching this. I hope that you are able to tune in for deeper discussions to dive into our platform capabilities. We've got Vice Hassas in the technical breakout sessions that's going to go into a lot more detail. I hope that you get a chance to be able to join that, as well as watch. We have many on-demand sessions that go much deeper into some of the things that I've talked about, as well as a lot of the areas that I didn't have time to address. So I hope you get a chance to do that. And mostly, I cannot wait until, fingers crossed, next year where we get to do this in person again. And thanks for being with us virtually today. Enjoy the rest of Cisco Live.
I love that Meraki session. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I really want to encourage you as well to go to the world of solutions. If you're relatively new to our broadcast, you need to be on ciscolive.com/2021. So that's ciscolive.com/2021. And the world of solutions is the location for all the demos. There's over 130 demos in there, and there's Meraki demos. And also visit our partners. So there's 34 partners. They really are the bridge of the Cisco innovation to the business benefit that you get in your organizations. We'd love you to be visiting all of our partners in the WAS. So again, we also had that call out for those deeper technical sessions, and you can find all that again on ciscolive.com/2021. And for our APJC colleagues who might want another language, if you go to that same URL, you can select one of 7 Asian languages that you can have for closed captioning while you watch the videos. Hey, Seema, what else is happening down there in the WAS?
Oh, let me tell you. So if you need a bit of a break and you enjoy a bit of retail therapy like I do, then make sure you also check out the Cisco store. So you can find that at the World of Solutions to get out. But just remember, like Ray said, you have to be on Cisco Live /2021, and the store's filled with exclusive Cisco Live 2021 gear. So check it out. Tumblers, caps, shirts, hoodies. I've seen people on social media telling me that they've been buying up. So make sure you go and check that out. Also, after your shopping trip, if you're looking for a bit more fun, check out your trivia. There you can test your knowledge on Cisco, Cisco Live, and some of the tech topics. You can find it on all channels below the video player. Now, we are getting to the end of the day. This is our last session, and Katsub, Armin, and Thomas will cover the steps and the strategy you need to take to build the ideal hybrid cloud operations model. So let's cue to the next video. Over to you.
Welcome to Cisco Live. My name is Kaustubh Das, and today we're going to talk about hybrid cloud operations. That guy in that picture is you. You get stretched in a couple of directions. You want to be cloud first. You get told to modernize. You do get told to be developer relevant, to look after applications, but at the same time, you've got to maintain the legacy. You've got to deal with the complexity, and you've got to deliver on the resiliency that an enterprise environment demands. So how do you be that visionary that's going to take your company into that digital future while still being the guardian that makes sure nothing breaks? Cisco's strategy is to help customers connect, secure, and automate in a cloud-first world. And it has a number of pillars underneath it, but Nexus Dashboard and Cisco Innersight are two critical ingredients to that future. So let's start with Innersight first. Cisco Innersight is the world's simplest hybrid cloud platform. We innovate on 3 dimensions: on automation, observability, and being cloud native. Over the past year, we have delivered a whole set of different services. We started with unifying all of our management platforms into a unified SaaS platform, then added on the Innersight infrastructure service, an ability to have a connected experience with connected support, advisories, compliance checks. Then the Innersight workload optimizer that has a full stack visibility, everything from applications down to the infrastructure, and it optimizes continuously, looking out for opportunities to increase performance or reduce costs. The Kubernetes service for cloud native development, a curated managed stack, and the Innersight virtualization service, a hypervisor agnostic set of virtualization primitives. And today, I couldn't be more excited to announce 2 new services, the Innersight Cloud Orchestrator and the Innersight service for HashiCorp Terraform. So let's take a quick peek into the Innersight Cloud Orchestrator. Innersight Cloud Orchestrator. This is part of the Innersight service. So you log into Innersight just like you always do. A cloud orchestrator is an engine to create workflows. Workflows are sequences of tasks connected in an algorithmic fashion. This is a low-code tool, so you drag and drop tasks, connect them together, and you can click into these blocks. When you click into these blocks, you get asked to specify inputs and outputs. Each task connects to other tasks. The data from one task flows into other tasks. At the end of the day, you have a workflow that you can save. And being enterprise grade, you can actually version it so you have a record of all of the workflows you created. Editing a workflow is just as easy. You can drag and drop another task and connect it in to the old workflow. Now, we've created a workflow, but workflows can get complex. And what this allows you to do is to visualize the dependencies between the inputs that we provide that flow into tasks that we've created or used, and the outputs of those tasks that potentially flow into other tasks. This is a simple way to visualize, to organize, and to debug our workflows. Executing a workflow is just as simple. For any execution, you need to input a certain set of parameters. You need to point it to a certain target. And then it's as simple as clicking execute. As the execution happens, there's a set of tasks that get done one after the other. And that automation flow is captured in a structured manner and can be cloned to scale. Now, what if something went wrong and we wanted to reverse our changes? We've got this capability called a rollback. And what rollback does is it reverses all of the steps of the workflow, brings us back to the state of the system prior to the execution of the workflow. A really, really useful tool for enterprise environments. Now, we can point this at on-prem targets, or we can point this at cloud targets for enabling hybrid cloud workflows, a singular tool that can manage on-prem and cloud. So that was the first announcement. For our second announcement, which is in partnership with HashiCorp, our technology partner, I am so excited to have Armon Davgar, the CTO and co-founder of HashiCorp, join us today. Armon, welcome to Cisco Live.
Thanks so much. Excited to be here.
So Armon, first easy question. What is infrastructure as code and what does it do for the customers?
That's a great question. I think infrastructure as code represents sort of a philosophy change in terms of how we manage infrastructure. Historically, if you look at how we manage things, we'd point and click in a console, we'd maybe manually SSH in and configure packages, change configuration, patch things. And so it was this very sort of manual approach to lifecycle management, whether it was day one stand up, day two reconfiguration, day end decommissioning. And what infrastructure as code, the kind of the heart of it is how do we take that process and instead capture it in sort of a codified sort of configuration language. And what that enables us to do is then automate the execution of it. So now whether we're trying to spin up, 1 machine, 10 machine, 100, 1,000, we can do all of that through automation rather than having to sort of manually interact with it to execute those changes, right? So at the heart of it is this idea of capturing all of that process in a codified way and then enabling automation. At the same time, when we talk about it in kind of a hybrid environment, it's about having that consistent workflow of how do we define a process that will then let us manage on-premise private resources, public cloud resources, virtual resources like DNS records. And so it's about having this kind of consistent workflow across all of that, but doing it in a way that's automated and codified so that we can do it at scale.
Awesome. So a new philosophy, much more automation, ability to handle scale, and a consistent workflow. So tell me a little bit about the integration with Intersight, between Intersight and HashiCorp Terraform, and what that does for our customers.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this integration. I think it's like peanut butter and jelly, right? I think for Cisco customers, they're looking to Cisco as their partner in terms of how do they go from sort of private environment into this hybrid cloud mode, and they're using Intersight as their portal to do that, right? And so I think what this brings together is, great, you're using Intersight as a software as a service. You can now pair that with HashiCorp's Terraform cloud, right? So when we talk about Terraform, sort of become the industry standard for how do we do infrastructure as code in these hybrid environments. And so by bringing the Terraform cloud integration into Intersight, we get all of those benefits of being able to do infrastructure as code, to be able to manage sort of hybrid devices, whether it's Cisco devices on-prem, whether it's public cloud resources. We can manage all of that with infrastructure as code through the Intersight portal based on this integration that we have together. So I think it really enables that kind of hybrid cloud use case using this modern infrastructure as code sort of approach.
That makes a lot of sense, and I could not be more excited. Armon, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Armon just talked about infrastructure as code, the power of HashiCorp Terraform, but it really starts to shine when you put it together with Intersight. So for example, take a task where a developer wants to create Kubernetes clusters on-prem. If you were to do it yourself, it's a number of manual tasks: provisioning the hardware, provisioning hypervisors, building and maintaining the distro, manually provisioning the VMs, change control. The power of automation makes it a lot simpler. And with Intersight and the suite of services we bring, including the service for HashiCorp Terraform, this becomes a lot simpler. So let's look at how that could work. Now, one thing I'd like you to notice as we go through it is the different services in Intersight that light up on the top right as we go through this flow. Now, to start with, a developer, a DevOps person would open up an editor, write a configuration file that points to the on-prem cluster and try to spin up an Intersight Kubernetes service. They would push it to Git, and that kicks off a stream with the Terraform Cloud service. Terraform Cloud integrates into Intersight through the provider that we've written, and that spins up the cluster on-prem. So if we go onto a Intersight console to monitor the progress as an operator, what we would see is all of the steps that take place as those steps in that automation get completed. This is all logged, archived so that we can go back to it if needed. Once all this is done, the cluster is up, it's running. You can look at the services, you can start to use it. The developers can start to build applications on top of it. And there you go. Now, for hybrid cloud, you may want to spin up clusters on-prem and spin up clusters in the cloud. So to do that, the process is pretty similar. To spin up a cluster in the cloud, in this case, we've got a configuration file that points to EKS on AWS. You push that to Git, which integrates into Terraform Cloud and then integrates into AWS. And what you get at the end of that is a public cloud, in this case, Amazon cluster that you can use. This may be for applications that use clusters on both the cloud and on-prem, but this is hybrid cloud operations with the same method across the cloud and on-prem. You could do more. With the Insight Workload Optimizer, you could actually visualize this application all the way from apps down to infra. You could optimize it for cost, and you could optimize it for performance. So now you've got tooling that helps you automate your hybrid cloud operations. Now, we've talked a lot about Insight and its suite of services that keeps expanding. We talked about the new services we've announced today. But we do more than that. We also build great platforms. So I'm so excited to announce 2 new platforms and an expansion of our relationship with AMD. These platforms really shine when used in certain applications that demand that level of performance. Modeling and simulation, gaming platforms, high-frequency trading, the AMD EPYC processor really shines. I'm also super excited to announce another platform. This has 224 cores, 36 terabytes of memory, and it really shines for those demanding applications that require that level of memory attached. SAP, HANA, high performance in-memory databases. And finally, we just launched 4.5, HyperFlex 4.5 earlier this year, and it's been doing great. This innovation engine on hyperconverged is on fire. We've done a great job at really driving innovation to this platform, and the market has been really accepting of it. You all hunger for the latest in technology, but you also hunger for the latest innovations in buying models. And I'm super, super excited to announce Cisco Plus for hybrid cloud. We've completely rethought everything. We've rethought how procurement is done. Everything from coding to ordering to delivery is smoother, it's simpler, it's more predictive. We've rethought consumption. So you can decide how much you want to have as reserved and how much you want flexibility on. And we've rethought and reshaped this consumption model to integrate with that technology like Insight and deliver outcomes. Those outcomes may be VDI, they may be virtualization, they may be bare metal compute. All of this is packaged together in a way that integrates with our technology and it's friendly with our channel go-to-market. Look for it in the middle of this year. So we covered a lot today. But with that, I'm super excited to welcome my colleague, Thomas Scheibe. Thomas, take it away.
Thanks, Kitty, for the fantastic update about the new Insight service enabling our customers to execute on their hybrid cloud vision. In the next 10 plus minutes, I will show you an exciting set of new capabilities. To manage your network infrastructure, the target outcome is the same, what you just heard about from Kitty. Help our customers connect, secure, and automate in a hybrid cloud world. The key objectives are the same. Deliver on the app experience for your users, securely expand your data center to a multi-cloud world, and accelerate IT operations. In a sense, customers want and need to build the cloud on and off ramps for their data center network. The platform that delivers on these objectives is Nexus Dashboard. We released Nexus Dashboard last year. Nexus Dashboard brings together in one place all the services needed to manage your data center network infrastructure. It delivers intuitive, real-time insights, automation services, and provides a unified view into operations across your data center fabrics. Nexus Dashboard comes with multiple services such as Orchestrator and Insights. It also provides a single sign-on to connect directly to the individual Fabric controllers, whether this is APIC for ACI or whether this is DCNM for your Nexus fabrics. In addition, Nexus Dashboard can connect with other automation platforms, such as Insight or vManage for SD-WAN. Today, we're announcing the addition of secure cloud connectivity capabilities as part of the dashboard, and specific the Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator. Customers can now accelerate their cloud journey, whether it's a hybrid cloud journey, whether it's cloud first, or whether it's a cloud-only approach. We also will be adding Google Cloud Platform to the Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator, next to the existing already available AWS and Azure options to provide choice and flexibility for customers' multi-cloud deployments. Again, some customers expand from their own data centers to one or multiple public clouds. Some customers decided on a cloud-only approach, but still need a network to securely connect the instances. Others will start in the cloud, but they will eventually repatriate some of their applications for cost and performance reasons. So once the cloud on and off ramps are in place, our customers really are focusing on accelerating and automating their daily operations. The topic that everyone is talking about, the things that everybody wants to get done. They want one view across the whole infrastructure. They want full stack observability and some kind of AI ML assisted insights to help them with troubleshooting, as well as they want to automate the service lifecycle. With that, let's take a look at a new feature in Nexus Dashboard. Today, customers have multiple of Nexus Dashboard instances to align with their desire around availability zones. That means network operators are limited to get insights for one availability zone at a time. With the new one view capability, operators can now log in once and they get an aggregated insight across all their availability zones. The upcoming demo will show the power of Nexus Dashboard One View and the ease of analyzing as well as auto-remediating anomalies. So let's take a look.
Let's meet Stacy, NetOps team lead from a large financial services company who runs multiple data centers across the world with connectivity to the multi-cloud with both AWS and Azure. Stacy is concerned about the onerous process of keeping track of individual data centers and is looking for a global view for all the environments as it becomes very challenging to log into each individual platform. Data availability is critical to her, and for all these key needs, she has deployed multiple local Nexus Dashboard platforms and is looking for a way to have a single view on one dashboard across the globe. Let's log into the Cisco Nexus Dashboard. This enables the global frictionless monitoring capability. Once authenticated, Stacy sees the Nexus Dashboard global map view, which shows all the sites, on-prem and cloud sites. With the new feature, you can have one view of all the anomalies across all sites and clusters. She also has the option of viewing the sites in a table list view that she can scroll through. Noticing the aggregated list of health scores and anomalies across both DC sites and Nexus Dashboard clusters, she is focusing on the critical anomaly in DC US West because of concern about the stability of the environment. Scrolling down, she sees the currently active anomalies, which are specific to the environment impacted and the impacted DC site. She can sort anomalies by various parameters such as severity, category, sites, node impacted, time, or status. Continuing with the highest order of severity, she selects the critical anomaly. She finds that it is related to an application deployed across hybrid cloud, and she needs to urgently perform further analysis to pinpoint the issue at hand. To better understand the anomaly impacting the traffic flows of enterprise application performance as Stacy is monitoring, she leverages the Analyze function, Nexus Dashboard Insights. She can review the historical events, including faults, to understand the lifespan, topology, and estimated impact of the issue at hand. The Analyze function also displays the topology pathway, the impacted application and infrastructure components, and the estimated impact of the anomaly that is occurring. Reviewing the estimated impact, Stacy chooses to use Nexus Dashboard's new auto-remediation feature. She clicks on Fix Issue, and Nexus Dashboard Insights will automatically remediate this critical error related to the configuration and update the fabric state information. Once she sees that the anomaly is remediated, she gets confirmation that the anomaly state is changed to clear in the lifespan section. This remediation now restores and normalizes traffic between endpoints for her business-critical application. With Nexus Dashboard meeting all the SLAs, Stacy is well into her journey in meeting her business goals and KPIs.
Wow, I hope you liked the demo. However, there's more. Nexus Dashboard Data Broker is another exciting new service. It is based on the currently shipping Nexus Data Broker offer that is widely used by service provider enterprises. Key enhancements are the ability to extract data from both Nexus and Catalyst 9000-based networks, apply programmable tap, filter, and application rules, and then pass the selected data to various custom analytics tools. The integration of Data Broker with Nexus Dashboard makes the service much, much simpler to use going forward. Now, here's another new service that helps with the automation of IT operations. We're extending the existing integration we have with ServiceNow. Customers can now auto-generate ServiceNow tickets directly from Nexus Dashboard, as well as getting full visibility into the ticket status via the Nexus Dashboard Insights service. Operators now can manage their tickets without ever leaving Nexus Dashboard. Life, as I promised, becomes so much simpler if you have this product. The last and not least new Nexus Dashboard capability I will highlight is the integration with HashiCorp Console and Terraform. You heard earlier about the new Intersite service for Hashi Terraform. The Nexus Dashboard integration I'm about to show you will bring cloud-native operation to Nexus network infrastructure and delivers for our customers an improved application experience. So what's the deal? In the past, developers had to wait on the network operations team to make network connectivity and services available before the app could be deployed, redeployed, or moved around. It took time, and sometimes nuances got lost in translation. With the new integrations, customers can now adopt a DevOps approach and program the infrastructure when needed. Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator offers the APIs and the necessary Terraform provider to make it happen. My second demo will show you how customers can bridge the gap between DevOps and NetOps.
Meet Stacy, a network operations lead for a large financial services company who has multiple data centers across the world with connectivity to both AWS and Azure clouds. Application agility is a key requirement for Stacy's firm. She recently resolved a critical anomaly using Nexus Dashboard Insights. She is catching up with Justin over a virtual cup of coffee, her development operations peer responsible for spinning up applications whom she has been working with for years. They are discussing how much easier the deployment and troubleshooting of applications has become. Nexus Dashboard is not only a tool for Stacy to proactively monitor the network, but also to define connectivity policies to connect her data centers and public clouds using Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator. Stacy uses the new service launcher to get to the Orchestrator service. The Nexus Dashboard lets Stacy review the current connectivity policies across all sites using on-prem and cloud. She can also create application-specific schemas, which contain templates to control in which sites the application will be available. Stacy can use the schema to help Justin get the application deployed. Historically, provisioning a new application required a handshake between DevOps and NetOps. Stacy configures the network before Justin could deploy the application. This is a highly manual, error-prone process with complete dependencies, impacting velocity of change. Now let's look at the new process Justin is using to automate application deployments. He relies on the HashiCorp's Console and Terraform tools to apply a new application in AWS. Currently, Justin needs to deploy a new application in AWS and adjust the segmentation policy needed for his application. While deploying the app, Justin also needs to manage available capacity and address user-received application sluggishness. The HashiCorp Console agent is automatically deployed with the new application. It will register as a new service in Console, and Console will start monitoring the application performance. Because of the new service creation, HashiCorp's Console and Terraform sync will trigger an automation to run in your Terraform Cloud workspace that will make the appropriate changes directly into your infrastructure. You can see here the automation run going through the different phases, and now that it is applied, we can go back to Cisco Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator to see that the change has been applied. Using Console Terraform Sync with Nexus Dashboard Orchestrator, Justin directly drives the infrastructure changes needed for his application. All this happens without Stacy having to press a button. Now we can just look at what changes are happening and monitor the progress in real time across her global infrastructure. This is really made possible due to the automation capabilities of the Cisco Nexus dashboard, driving infrastructure as code, enabling rapid deployment of services, CI/CD pipelines, and seamless collaboration between DevOps, CloudOps, and NetOps. Justin and Stacy really like the automation capabilities provided by the Cisco Nexus dashboard that lets them work together, delivering the best application experience. Justin and Stacy share a virtual coffee mug cheers.
I hope you enjoyed the second demo as well. You have seen lots of exciting new dashboard servers and features. One last one for today. We will add 2 new deployment options for Nexus Dashboard. Beyond the appliance form factor available already today, we will offer a virtual appliance and a cloud-hosted option as well. You can now deploy your Nexus Dashboard where you need it. With that, let me wrap it up. Both KD and I walked you through how you can accelerate your cloud adoption. Both Nexus Dashboard and Insight help you deliver on the same objectives. Deliver on the app experience your users want, securely expand to multi-cloud, and accelerate IT operations. In short, Nexus Dashboard and Insight together will make your hybrid cloud vision a reality. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of Cisco Live.
I hope you've had a great day. All of us here at Cisco have worked so focused on making sure you have a great experience, and we'd love to hear from you if that's the case. You have surveys that you could fill out and let us know. So if you go to ciscolive.com/2021, and you'll find under your name, there's a drop down that says My Surveys, and it would mean so much to us if you fill those out. We want to keep bringing you the greatest possible experiences for your development and for your customers. So please help us with the surveys. And remember, there's anytime content also there that you can watch at any time over the coming weeks and days. Seema, over to you.
What an amazing day we've had so far at Cisco Live. But it's not over yet, as we have one more session for today, and it's an amazing one. Cisco's Oliver Tuzik sits down with James Cameron to talk about the incredible technological innovations he's created for his blockbuster films, including The Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, Titanic, Avatar, and many others. They'll also discuss his passion for sustainability, climate change, and the environment. If you're not familiar with James Cameron, here's a video that highlights all the amazing things he's done throughout his career. Make sure you go to ciscolive.com/2021 and head over to the leadership channel. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day 2 of Cisco Live. Now over to the keynote.
Out there to destroy them, right? To wipe them out.
There is something down there. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad. Open your eyes.
But we will send them a message that this is our land.
I love this stuff. Real honest to God, deep ocean exploration.
It's about creating the technology. It's about the personal challenge of actually going into this hostile environment and coming back with results. Just follow the skid marks. They'll take you to Titanic.
I was struck by how surreal it was to actually be there at the wreck of this famous ship that had seemed like a legend to me all my life. Just had this huge effect on me. Battleship Bismarck. The infamous German battleship was sunk in one of the most furious naval battles of World War II. Now it lies in 16,000 feet of water. My problem is I'm curious and I need to go see for myself. I've seen some pretty astonishing things in the depths. Things that fill your soul with wonder.
And release, release, release.
I took off like a shot, fastest I've ever seen. The surface just receded. And I'm looking at the depth gauge, and I'm like at 1,000 feet in the first couple minutes. And I'm going past Titanic depth. Then I'm going past Bismarck depth, 16,000 feet. Then I'm going past 27,000 feet, which was the deepest I had dived before. All of a sudden I saw a glow and made slow contact with the bottom.
Surface, Deep Sea Challenger, I am on the bottom. Depth is 35,755 feet. Over.
People always ask me why I'm doing this. It's that need to see what's there beyond the edge of your lights, to see the unknown for yourself. Cousteau said it best. He said if we knew what was there, we wouldn't have to go.
Bud?
I've been asked to be here to help them raise this voice, raise this cry about what's happening here.
Jim, a warm welcome to Cisco Live. Great to see you again.
It's great to see you, Oliver, and I'm glad that everyone at Cisco wants to hear the 2 or 3 things I might have to talk about rattling around in my empty cranium here.
Oh, there's a lot that the people want to know. But let's start with something that fits perfectly to our theme, which is turn it up, being very innovative, disruptive, being bold, having an impact. And I think this is your main theme. You, with your movies, were mainly talking about future technology, future worlds. But even more important, you were utilizing new technologies or technologies that have not been available at this time. Tell us why you always focus so much on the technology making your movies and why it's so important for your stories.
Well, look, I think I've spent my whole career turning it up. You know, I mean, I always want to go beyond not only what I've done before, but I look around at the state of the art and what other filmmakers are doing, and I'd love to go beyond that. I love to put on a big show, have a great experience for the audience, and some of the things that I imagined over time, over my almost 40-year directing career, just simply weren't possible, or we couldn't figure out how to do it. And some people, I think, back away from that type of challenge, and I just lean into it because I think, well, look, if we don't know how to do it, then we will by definition be showing people something that they haven't seen before. And I think that's fundamental. Storytelling is basically about universal themes in a sense. You can always put new bells and whistles on it with kind of social things that are happening at that exact moment, and you can live at the quivering edge of the zeitgeist. I think television does that better than movies. Movies have a slower creation cycle, and they have a longer life cycle, I think, over time. And so they kind of have to stride across those momentary swells or waves of social changes. So you go to kind of universal themes, epic themes, things that storytelling ideas that go back to the Greeks, or before, back to the campfire, back to the Neolithic campfire, a person against the elements, male-female relationships, whatever it is that are timeless and universal. And also in my business, we're spanning all cultures. We're putting our movies out to all countries and all cultures, all languages around the world. So, what I'm getting at is that while there's an insane amount of creativity on the writing side, we also have to always come up with that new thing that people must see, that drives that must-see experience. Why do I have to go to a cinema? So maybe 3D falls into that, maybe computer generated images, environments, characters, and so on falls into that category. So I've always tried to push the tech by imagining something that was not possible the day I imagined it. And then we had to get a bunch of smart people together, team up on it, kind of dogpile the problem, right? And then come up with something new. And, that started with Aliens and went on through The Abyss and Terminator 2 and all that. You can go back and chart a course that maps closely to the rise of CG and the rise of 3D being, I think, the two biggest sort of big catch bags of where we did the innovation.
Let's talk about a very concrete example, Avatar. And I was surprised when I learned that the idea of Avatar was 10 years before you started to work on this film. So what was the reason that you couldn't start it immediately, and what were you waiting for? And last, how can you be that patient and waiting 10 years?
Yeah, well, look, I'm gonna try to relate it to people who are every day in the innovation community, right? And for whatever industry that you're working in. I had founded a company called Digital Domain, and we were at the cutting edge of digital visual effects. That included computer-generated imagery, as well as digital image capture, digital image composite, and so on. And I wanted to write a story that would push that company to be the best and to stay in front. And at that particular moment in history, we were on the map, we were functioning, we were a business, we were well capitalized, but everybody was starting to look at us and starting to break off little pieces of what we were doing, and we knew that our competitors would catch us pretty quickly. So I said, I need to do the grand provocation. I need to do that which our company can lean into and be so far out in front that they won't catch us for a while. So I imagined Avatar and the world of Pandora and these characters that would be computer-generated characters done by performance capture, and we were dabbling with that at the time. And so that was in 95, right? And the company was only 3 years old at the time. I brought it in, I laid it out, I said, here's the story, guys, here's what I want to do, and all of my tech people went to work, and they came back and said, we're not ready. We're not ready, and we can't get ready in a single production cycle, even if it was a couple of years of production. We can't do what you want to do now. We're heading in that direction, but we can't do it now. And I said, no problem. I'll park that. Here, let me come up with something else that'll build our muscle in the interim. So I parked that project, and then I saw development across, and our company was partly responsible for it, but across all the other
visual effects companies, and the bar kept coming up and coming up. And one day I was sitting watching, I think it was the second Lord of the Rings film, and there was a scene in that where Gollum talks to himself in two separate personalities, and I thought, if they can do that at that degree of photoreality and capture that much of a performance, we're ready for Avatar. So I circled back. I brought together some of the same folks from back then, 10 years earlier, 2005. We said, all right, we're on the attack. We're going to go do this. There were still so many unsolved problems to accomplish what I wanted that we knew it was going to be the biggest challenge we ever faced, but it was the right time. So a big, let's use an example, a big wave surfer. They go to where that wave's going to be, and when it comes, it can be terrifying, and they're there to ride it. That's what they put themselves there to do. So you ride that wave. The only difference is we build a wave on a wave.
It's interesting how similar our businesses are. You put a wave on a wave is something that we see also. And there was one thing at the beginning that I really loved. You said you want to stay relevant. One of the reasons why you innovate and why you disrupt, because you want to have something that is relevant for your customers. It's exactly what we think, what our customers, our partners, and Cisco thinking about. So great to hear this. Let's talk for a moment at least about the pandemic. You are right now in your studio. As I remember, this is your studio, so you keep on working. But the pandemic changed a lot for all of us. The way how we did our business has changed dramatically, and we adapted pretty fast. But I would be interested how such a complex thing, distributed but also very close, in making a movie, has changed to the pandemic, and how did you adapt to this?
I think we were lucky in our particular Avatar technical and artistic community because we had worked remotely so much prior to that. We had used video teleconferencing and video collaborative workspace tools literally since the first film, starting in 2006 or 2007. So for us, it was a critical part of our culture. And I would do long creative sessions, maybe 7, 8 hours at a time, from Los Angeles with the Weta Digital people who are right here in Wellington, where I am now in New Zealand. And so we just expanded that. We kind of knew what to do. The funny thing was, the second the pandemic hit, and my fellow producer John Landau and I looked at each other and we said, we're going to get shut down. How do we not get shut down? How do we get ahead of this? And literally in a 10-day period, we literally wrote a bunch of new code so that we could take our highly encrypted and secure workstations. All of our artists were still coming in. They were still commuting in Los Angeles traffic on the freeways. 300 people would show up every day. And it was great whenever there was a birthday party. There were lots of people to sing to you around the cake. But they basically separate and work at workstations. We said, we can recreate this in a distributed model very quickly. The issue was encryption. We had very, very large files that were moving at high data rates, and we had to have absolute security because our IP would have been greatly in demand for people to put up on the internet and kind of blow the whole thing wide open. So how would we, at this distributed network across the city and probably even wider as people went home and decided where they were going to work, how do we keep it secure? So we figured out a way basically to only port back and forth the key commands and the display information, but keep the large files and all the rendering and everything localized. The code for this was written in about a week and a half, and we literally, at the exact moment that the lockdown happened in California, we were ahead of the curve and we went to work. We just went to a different model. And I think we're all seeing how efficient that model can be.
Let's talk a bit more about how you manage a team, because you are going on really big, complex projects. They're globally, they're teams from different areas, and you're starting something pretty often that is new, so you might fail. Yeah. So how do you keep your team together and motivated? It was, I think, difficult even without the pandemic.
I think what you have to do is you have to celebrate. First of all, you celebrate success. You celebrate the ingenuity. You anticipate the problems. You encourage everyone to anticipate problems and be transparent in your sessions, in your meetings, and bring those problems forward. And when all the smart, and if I say to my team every time, I've gathered the smartest people in the world to solve these problems. If something eludes us and comes through and we trip on it,
and stumble, we're going to get back up right away, but we're going to get back up by sitting together and without any blame whatsoever, deconstructing what happened and celebrating that failure as a learning opportunity. Because we're here to challenge ourselves.
There's a wonderful quote, and I need to read it out. In art and exploration, failure has to be an option because it's a leap of faith. That sounds great and fits to what you just said, of course. But do you have an example of failure and concrete how you handled it?
Yeah, I think, look, the example that I'm thinking of is that, and it was the early days of virtual production, right? I mean, sure, we have little ones all the time. Wow, that didn't work. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Lots of little ones. But one that's pretty glaring in retrospect, and remember, this is a lot of the smartest people in the world at what we were about to do. And this is going back to the first Avatar now. I had written a story that took place in a rainforest. Well, anybody that's ever been in a rainforest knows that it's usually not very flat. It can be hilly, there's terrain, you go up, you go down, you climb over things. Well, anybody that's worked in a virtual environment or worked with HoloLens or anything like that knows that it's generally held on a flat floor. And you can walk around, but you can only walk around on the flat floor. You know, those pixels or those voxels aren't going to lift your body up in space. And so we had imagined this whole thing, but we hadn't imagined a terrain structure that mapped to the beautiful set pieces that we had created. So we were at a point where we could walk around in the virtual rainforest. The second the path went uphill, you just walked into it, right? So we had to create a highly modular physical polygonal system that could quickly be reconfigured like building blocks, but with, kind of smooth surfaces to map to our terrain. So we had to create an entire physical terrain staging model overnight, essentially overnight. I think it took us about 2 weeks. And when we reconvened, we'd completely solved the problem. And that became our working methodology and through now. So we're talking 15 years later, we still use the same system that we created essentially in that day.
That's a great example. I can imagine. I've never thought about this before, but you learn this the hard way, as you just described. Maybe let's move a bit more to technology. And we had a quick chat on this one before, but we're talking a lot about as a service, which means you have a company that provide a service that is essentially important to you, but you get somebody else to take care of this one. And I was kind of positively surprised to hear that you built up more or less your own as a service company. Maybe you can talk a bit about why you did it and how you understand the benefits of such a motion.
Right. So as a filmmaker, I imagine something and then I go film it. That's pretty simple, right? But more and more so over the last 30 years, there's a whole finish process of creating the visual effects and integrating them with the part that I do, right? And we've taken that to an extreme degree. So I'll put you in the present moment where we have this very close symbiotic relationship with our service provider. So our service provider is Weta Digital, and I think they're the best visual effects house on the planet. And we capture the performances of the characters. We shoot the live action. We do the integration between those captured and live action performances. We edit it all, and we hand it all over to them to finish and make it photoreal. And it's many, many orders of magnitude more intensive from a rendering process. We do our renders almost in real time on the set to create our virtual space, whereas they'll take sometimes hundreds of hours per frame, times 24 frames a second, times 2 for 3D. So it's a vastly more data, vastly more compute intensive process. So they provide that service to us. But it's the classic garbage in, garbage out scenario. What we give them for them to do their work has to be served up in a way that they can accept and they can use and they can put their best game forward.
Customer engagement, of course, is also our focus. But what we're really realizing, the world has changed. More people working from home. There's a future of work. Yeah. And things are managed differently. I assume the same is happening to you because a lot of cinemas are still not open, they are closed. Yep. Are you thinking about creating the same experience in my living room that you created for me in a big cinema with all the surround systems and everything? Because you need to cope also with this new situation, or are you ignoring it?
Storytelling is universal. And what the pandemic has taught us is that human beings really need three things: food, water, stories, right? You keep us in our houses, locked up, prisoners, you better be feeding us some damn good stories. So personally, I think there's going to, when we go back to some sort of new normal, I think that new normal will include the cinema experience. I think there are a lot of compelling reasons to want to be there. But I'm perfectly willing, if that doesn't come to pass, to adapt my art and craft to streaming, because it's a visual medium.
Which of course gets me to the number one question everybody is asking. And I tried again, I might fail again. So what's about Avatar 2? Tell us a bit. I saw that you were editing some of the pieces there in the background. So is there anything you can tell these people here? They won't tell anybody else, I promise. But is there anything you can tell them about what will be Avatar 2 about? And maybe also, when will we see it?
I can give you some broad strokes, okay? So for those of you who were fans of the first film, the visual spectacle and the sense of immersion and that feeling of being in a dream, but with your eyes wide open and knowing you're awake, will continue. That's our primary goal, is to create that immersive, kind of dreamlike and aspirational experience. I want to be there. That place is beautiful. I want to go there. Now, on top of that, obviously, is a set of story drivers, right? So I'm continuing with my same three key characters, which is Jake and Neytiri on the good side, Colonel Quaritch on the bad side. I'm not going to get into the details about how he manages to come back, other than to wave the magic wand of it's a science fiction universe, and as long as your DNA is still around, you can always return. And say that it's now. The story takes place 15 years later, and it's going to nicely sync up about with the amount of time that's passed. Jake and Neytiri are parents, and they have children that range from preteen through teenage years. They are now facing a new onslaught from the rapacious elements of Earth culture that are coming to kind of strip mine and deforest their world. So it's a war. It's a war between the caretakers and the takers, essentially. Same war that we're fighting here on Earth right now. We're fighting that war right now. So this is taking it and looking at it through the lens of science fiction on a distant world. And we follow that family. And it's a family story, and how they overcome their obstacles, their struggles, their losses, and so on. It also takes you to different environments on the planet.
Thanks for giving us this view. It feels even more horrible right now that I need to wait and can't get it into the cinema tonight. But I know you're working hard.
I'm working as fast as I can.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are really looking forward, and I'm sure you will change their minds again. You've been talking about this caretaker and the war that we are fighting here on Earth. And I know there's one other big thing, very big thing for you, where you put all your energy in, all your passion, your resources. Tell us a bit about how you look at what is happening right now in this, on our world, where we are right now. And maybe also, will the pandemic change anything? Will we go back to a different normal after we went through this?
Look, I think there are some pluses to what's happened with the pandemic. I know a lot of people have had tragedy, and we've all suffered the vast inconvenience of it, and some companies have taken really deep financial hits. So setting the obvious aside, let's look at the upside. We've managed to globally reduce our carbon footprint significantly during the periods of lockdown and complete remote working. A lot of companies have seen that having people work remotely saves them energy, saves the company energy, meaning money, and they don't intend to go back to the pre-pandemic, version of their reality. I think it's a great learning opportunity for us as a team of 7 billion that have to work together to solve some of the existential problems that face us, like climate change and degradation of our environment and resource depletion and so on. These are all things that we as a group face. And we've seen it being a strange period where we're simultaneously coming together remotely and easily working with people around the world. And at the same time, we've seen these outbreaks
of nationalism and this kind of isolationist philosophy and so on. Let's hope that the lessons learned of the last year and ongoing become the kind of new philosophy, because we do have to work together. I mean, you and I are on separate continents right now, and we're having a great conversation. We're busy solving the world's problems, right now. Let's hope that spirit persists, and that we, in our innovation strategies and our business strategies, we lean into that, and that we as business people do things that are on the good side of history, of how we solve these problems, and know that the one thing that we've got, our big hack as a species, is our intelligence and our curiosity. But there's another thing that I think people downplay: our ability to work together in a kind fashion. Everybody sort of believes, because movies have told us this and the news tells us this, that we live in this kind of Hobbesian version of reality where everybody's out to get everybody and compete, and that there's a savage beast that's underneath a thin veneer of civilization, and you take that thin veneer away and then we just burst out as these savages. It turns out that anthropology is showing us that that's not the case at all. That we have survived on this planet because of our ability to cooperate, because of our ability to work in teams, because of our ability to be kind, and to have that mirror neuron effect of understanding each other, seeing each other.
I fully agree, and it is a perfect fit. But what we are sharing here at this event is also how we try to power a more inclusive future, which is based on exactly the same principles that we're talking. And I think we're all hoping that the future will be better than the past, because we might have learned something. So many thanks for your passion on this topic. It's always great to hear how you are driving this. And I know there's a couple of series coming up right now where you show how you look at the nature, and I can only recommend everybody here to follow you on this one. So as we need to come to an end, there's one question that people asked me a couple of times about what is the next movie Cameron is going to do. Now, think about, we're a technology company. We can deliver whatever innovation you need. If technology would not limit you, what would be the next big thing?
It's an interesting question from my individual perspective, because the next big thing for me is going to be Avatar 4 and Avatar 5, and we're going to be, and what I would love to do is be able to compress temporally the entire process. So constant improvement of the tool set, the pipeline, faster compute speeds, more efficient IT networking, all the things that ultimately we want. Just like there's a universal speed limit in the universe of the speed of light, I want the speed limit to be the speed of creativity. I don't want it to be the speed of systems. You see what I mean? And that would apply to any other film that I wanted to make as well. And I think there are sort of ripple benefits to other filmmakers and other visual effects houses from the things that we're doing, because we're kind of at that screaming hypersonic tip of trying to push through the speed barrier of all these techniques that we're using, because they're incredibly compute intensive, and they're all about networking artists all over the world, and technicians and coders and so on all over the world, massive amounts of data, massive amounts of storage, and very high levels of encryption and so on. So as we increase the speed of creativity, there will be all these other benefits. I liken it to the space program. Going to the moon gave us Tang and thousands of other, uplifts to everything in computing and software and so on. And it's no big surprise that the decade after, we went to the moon was the decade that tech exploded and became more ubiquitous and much more inclusive and democratized down to everybody else.
So you can be sure with this, you motivated all the Cisco people, all the people that are listening right now, to be even faster, more innovative, more disruptive, just to ensure that we get Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next big thing.
4, 5, 6, 7, however many.
I can't wait. So thanks a lot. It was just simply amazing for me and for the entire audience to listen, to understand what is behind all these movies, how you look into the future and how you're taking care of our world. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for turning up a lot of things while you're working on Avatar 2. So we won't keep you any longer away from the desk behind you so that you can speed up Avatar 2.
Okay, that's great. Look, it's been great to be a part of your intention to inspire your own teams and inspire your customers. And I'm just happy to be here and to have this conversation.
Thanks a lot. And to all other people, thanks for joining us. And we're looking forward to see you tomorrow again.